While I was coming up the stairs with groceries, I heard my brother's voice from inside my apartment. I stopped in the hallway. He said, "You're wasting your body and time on a joke. Drop him tonight. I'll show you what you've been missing." My girlfriend laughed and said, "You're not wrong. I've been done with him. I'm just waiting for the right moment." I smiled. An hour later, I walked in like nothing happened. 2 days later, I made a move that had them crying outside my door. Since then, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. They're calling from different numbers, crying to people I barely know. "Please tell him to unblock us. He's destroying us. Make him stop. Tell him I'm sorry. Please. Just one chance." Hey everyone. Before we dive in, I have a quick favor to ask. If you enjoy content like this, please hit the subscribe button. It's free, supports the channel, and ensures you never miss out on amazing videos. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so I've never posted here before. I usually just lurk because most stories seem fake as hell. But not gonna lie, after today, I kinda get why people do this. Like there's nowhere else to put all this. I'm still shaking a bit, to be honest, so if this comes out messy, sorry. Also on mobile, so you get my raw typing. Whatever. So background, I'm Mark, 27. I got a brother, Gustavo, 29, and I live with my girlfriend, Lena, 26, in this apartment I picked out last year. It's not fancy or anything, but it's got a weird little balcony. Sometimes I work on my bike out there, which is cool. Anyway, Lena moved in around March. We've been together a few years. Gustavo's got his own place like 20 minutes away, but he drops by pretty often, probably too often, sometimes unannounced. My mom says that's just how family is, but I think she just doesn't want to pick sides when Gustavo and I get into it. Anyway, today was already dumb. I had to run like 5 errands after work, plus the grocery store was packed, and then the bag handles basically chewed up my hands because I forgot my canvas ones. So I'm coming up the stairs juggling bags and my phone's blowing up from some group chat. Not relevant, but it was annoying. And I get to my floor and something just feels weird. Not like horror movie weird. Just, I don't know, like the door's not closed all the way. You know that little gap where you can see the light inside? Also, music's playing, but it's not my playlist. Whatever. I go to push the door open, and I stop because I hear voices. I know it's Gustavo and Lena, which is odd. I didn't even know he was coming over, and I've never seen them hang out alone. I'm standing there thinking maybe I should just go in, but then I actually hear what they're saying. They're not quiet. Gustavo is like saying all this stuff about how Lena's wasting her time and energy on a joke, which I guess is me, lol. And she should just drop me. And then he gets all gross, saying he'll show her what she's been missing. Lena laughs, not just polite, haha, like actually laughs, and she says she's been done with me and just waiting for the right moment. So I just stand there holding 2 bags, milk leaking through one because of course, and I just don't move. I think I was expecting them to stop or notice me or something, but they keep talking. They start talking about my stuff too. Like, who will get what? Gustavo jokes about taking my bike if I won't need it anymore. Lena says she'll probably have to block me because I'll get dramatic. I almost laughed at that. To be honest, because that's exactly what she always says when she's upset. Calls me dramatic. Like I'm the problem. I'm not going to pretend I'm some stoic dude who's above it all. I've got a temper. And Gustavo's always pushed my buttons, like he's been competitive with me since we were kids. I think he hates that I got out of our parents' house first and that I did it on my own. He still borrows money from them or me sometimes. Lena's been off with me lately, but I just thought it was stress or maybe she was annoyed. I'm always fixing stuff around the house instead of going out. I even asked her last week if things were cool, and she just rolled her eyes and said I was being paranoid. I'm outside the door for maybe 5 minutes. Felt like an hour just listening. At one point, Gustavo says he's tired of watching Mark walk around like he owns everything, and it's time for a change. He's always been like that. He's not dumb, he just thinks he deserves more than he gets. I guess I can't count how many times our moms told him to be more like me, and I know that pissed him off. So I guess him going after Lena is his way of getting one up on me. I don't know. Lena's got her own thing too. I know her last relationship ended with her cheating. She said it was because her ex was controlling. I didn't really think about it much. I finally just put the bags down outside the door. I didn't even want to see them. Not yet. I went back down the stairs, didn't even text. Just walked around the block a couple times. Called my friend Harlow, but didn't say anything about it. Just talked about some meme he sent me last night. I was shaking a bit. Dropped my phone at one point. I just needed time to think. I kept going over what I heard, and the more I thought about it, the less surprised I was. It's like all these little things added up. Lena always defending Gustavo when we fought. Gustavo sending her TikToks and memes, acting like it was no big deal. Stuff disappearing from the kitchen and both of them blaming each other or me. I waited an hour, maybe a bit more. Then I went back up, picked up my groceries, and went in like nothing happened. Gustavo was on the couch, Lena was in the kitchen, both acting weirdly normal. She was on her phone. He was half watching some show. I dropped the bags a little harder than I meant to. And Gustavo looked at me like he was about to say something and then didn't. Lena barely looked up. I said something like, "Hope you didn't eat all my leftovers." And Gustavo smirks, but doesn't say anything. It was tense, but not in a way they'd notice unless they were looking for it. The rest of the night was just off. Gustavo left after like 30 minutes. Lena said she was tired and went to bed early. I stayed up just scrolling Reddit and thinking through everything. I kept expecting her to ask what was wrong, but she didn't. I think she thought I was mad about something stupid, like the groceries or the mess in the kitchen. So yeah, I didn't blow up. I didn't confront them. I just smiled and acted normal. But I've got a plan. I'm not exactly the forgiving type. And to be honest, I'm sick of being the guy who gets stepped on because family. I'm not letting this slide. I'll update if people want to know what happens next, but I'll say this. I'm not just going to walk away and let them laugh about it. Not happening. Update 1. Okay, so weird update. I wasn't actually sure I was going to come back and post, but now my brain is kind of fried. And after the DMs from last time, maybe I just want to see if anyone else is as mad as I am. This is going to be messy. Still not sleeping right. So after the whole groceries incident, if you didn't read part 1, just scroll. I'm not explaining all that again. I played it chill. Not friendly, just normal. I didn't say anything. I needed time to figure out what I actually wanted to do, not just blow up and give them something to twist back on. And I wanted to see if they'd slip up or if I was just losing it. To be honest, I kept second guessing if I heard it right. But the way they acted after? Nah. Stuff started getting weird pretty much immediately. Lena barely talked to me that night. Just scrolled on her phone and said she had a headache. Classic. Gustavo texted me the next morning like nothing had happened. Something about borrowing my charger. And I just replied, sure, whatever. I didn't even want to see him, but I figured fine. Let's see how he acts in person. So he comes by the next day, lets himself in. I hate that he still has a key. That's on me. And just parks himself at the counter. He's extra loud with Lena, like making jokes he knows I don't get, laughing at stuff on her phone, acting like I'm not even there. At one point, I catch him looking at me, and he just grins. I ask him what's funny, and he says nothing, but he keeps grinning. I swear he wanted me to start something so he could act like I was the problem. Lena's acting weird too, like she's walking on eggshells around me, but still has this little smile when he's around. She keeps accidentally brushing past him in the kitchen. I'm not an idiot. I see it. What really set me off was later that night, my mom calls. She's asking if things are okay with me and Lena, and I'm like, why are you asking? Turns out Gustavo's been over at her place, talking about how I'm stressed and paranoid lately. And maybe Lena deserves better. He makes it sound like I'm some basket case who's impossible to live with. I ask my mom if Lena said anything, and she goes, no, but she's been quiet at family dinners. So basically, they're setting up for the big poor us act. Feels like everyone is prepping for me to be the villain. I'm not gonna lie, that bit almost made me snap. I was this close to just packing Lena's stuff and leaving it by the door, but nah, I wanted to know how deep this went. So yeah, maybe I crossed a line, but I checked Lena's phone when she left it in the bathroom. I know her passcode. She never changed it. I wasn't even subtle about it. Just scrolled through her messages. There it was. Her and Gustavo have been texting for months. Not just flirty texts, but actual plans for what they'll do when I'm out, like splitting bills, making fun of the way I clean, even talking about my bike. Gustavo even sent her a pic of my old hoodie he borrowed. She says she can't wait to wear it in front of me. So now it's not just cheating, it's them plotting how to get rid of me and take over my apartment. And get this, Lena's not on the lease. She moved in last year. We were going to add her name, but she never got around to it. Gustavo's asking her if the landlord is chill, if he can crash for a while. They're literally planning to move me out and set up shop in my place like it's a joke. That's when I stop feeling sad and just get mad. I start making a list of everything that's technically mine. Furniture, TV, the bike, Wi-Fi is in my name, all of it. I check the lease just to be sure. And yeah, only my name. No subletting without approval, and any guests have to be out in a week if I say so. I almost laughed. They're both so cocky, they didn't even bother to check. Lena keeps saying she'll figure it out when the time comes. Gustavo's all, he's too soft, he'll just give up. Lol. Okay, I start watching how they act. Lena tries to be extra nice, offers to cook, asks if I want anything from the store, calls me babe in front of Gustavo like she's covering all her bases. Gustavo, on the other hand, keeps making digs. He accidentally knocks over my bike. I tell him to be careful and he shrugs, says, maybe I should keep it somewhere safer. I tell him to stay out of the storage closet and he just laughs. Later, I hear them arguing in the hallway. Lena says I'm getting suspicious. Gustavo tells her to relax, says I'm not smart enough to catch on. Wow. Guess I'm just here for their amusement. I start keeping my stuff locked up. Laptop, passport, anything important. I move some cash I had stashed to a lockbox at my parents' house. I don't even tell them why, just say I'm organizing. My dad thinks it's weird, but whatever. He's distracted by some feud with his neighbor. Anyway, at this point, I'm basically living with two strangers, pretending everything's fine. The tension is thick, but nobody says anything. Lena tries to get me to go out with her, says she wants to talk about something. I say I'm busy. She slams the door and texts Gustavo that she's done pretending. I see it all on her phone later when she's in the shower. Gustavo says to just let it play out until I snap. The next day I get a call from my landlord. Someone's been asking about adding a new tenant. Guess who? Gustavo. Landlord says he only talks to me, not randoms. I tell him not to add anyone and he says, fine, just wanted to check. So now, they're not just plotting, they're trying to get official. I'm so done. I get home and Gustavo's in my chair, feet up, eating my leftovers, acting like he owns the place. I tell him to get out and he pushes past me. Shoulder check, grabs his stuff, and leaves. Lena comes out, asks what happened, and when I tell her I'm sick of him, she just shrugs and says it's not her problem. I tell her I know what's going on. She goes pale for a second, then just says, I'm being dramatic again, and walks out, slamming the door so hard, a picture frame falls off the wall. I start packing her stuff right then. Every little thing into bags and boxes. Not neat. I don't care. I text my friend Harlow and ask if I can crash for a night or two just to get out of my own head. He says fine, but asks if I'm okay. I'm not, but I don't say it. I fall asleep on the couch that night, just waiting for the next move. I know I'm not going to just let them take everything. I've got a plan. I know exactly what I'm going to do, and it's not just blocking them or walking away. Next post will probably piss some people off, but IDC, I'm done playing nice. Time to see what happens when you push the joke too far. Update 2. Alright, this is the part everyone seems to want, so here it is. NGL, I barely slept and I'm still running on caffeine and spite. If you were hoping for some wise, peaceful closure post, just go read literally any other sub. If you ever wondered what it looks like when someone finally snaps, buckle up. This is where it goes from awkward to ugly. So after all that BS with Lena and Gustavo, see last post, I spent 2 days keeping everything low-key. I didn't blow up. I didn't even bring it up. I just watched them, listened, made notes in my phone. It's wild how fast people get cocky when they think you're clueless. Lena started leaving her laptop open like she wasn't hiding anything. Gustavo started showing up every afternoon, eating my food, leaving his dirty socks in the living room like he owned the place. I swear there was a day I came home and they were both sitting on the couch watching some trashy YouTube drama, sharing a bag of chips, barely even looked up. I just walked in, dropped my bag, and went to my room. I think Lena muttered something about me being moody. She was always saying I was too sensitive, but the way she said it then felt like a test. Next morning, I noticed the Wi-Fi was running slow. I checked the router and some random device was connected. Gustavo must have given the password to a friend or something, because there was a new phone on the list. Later, I found a beer can under the couch that wasn't mine. I texted Gustavo, and he just sent back a laughing emoji. So yeah, they were getting real comfortable. I could have just kicked them both out right then, but I wanted them to feel it. I wanted them to see what happens when you treat someone like they're a joke. So I started planning. Nothing illegal. I'm not trying to get arrested for people who'd sell me out for a free lunch, but I wanted it to hurt. First, I called my landlord. We're not friends or anything, but he's always been chill if you're honest with him. I let him know that Lena wasn't on the lease and that my guest, Gustavo, had basically moved in without permission. He asked if I wanted to file an official complaint. I said not yet, but I wanted it on record. He said he'd handle it if I wanted them both out. Just needed it in writing. Then he tells me I can change the locks with his approval as long as I give notice to Lena to remove her stuff. I say that's fine, I'll handle the notice. Then I went home and started packing. Not all at once, just little by little. Every time Lena left for the gym or to run errands, aka probably meet Gustavo somewhere, I boxed up her clothes, her shoes, her stupid ring light, all her bathroom stuff. Literally everything that wasn't mine. I left her phone chargers tangled up. Didn't even bother to wrap them. I found Gustavo's hoodie in the closet and threw it in one of the boxes too. I left all the boxes by the front door. That night, when Lena got home, she saw them and goes, "What's all this?" I said, "You'll see." She tried to laugh it off, but her face was tight. I just shrugged and went back to scrolling on my phone. She started texting furiously, probably Gustavo. She slammed the bedroom door. Next day, I set up the group chat with my family. Just me, my parents, Gustavo, and Lena. I sent a photo of the boxes and a message. Lena's moving out. Gustavo and Lena, don't come to my place unless you've got a reason. If anyone wants to know why, ask them, not me. My dad replied with a question. My mom called me, asking what happened. I just told her, ask Gustavo. I'm done explaining. Lena started crying, literally crying, begging me not to do this. She tried to grab my arm and I pulled away. She slapped me. I told her to get out. She started throwing stuff in the hallway. I didn't care. I told her she had 2 days to pick up her stuff or I was donating it. Gustavo showed up 30 minutes later, banging on the door, yelling at me to open up. I didn't. He started yelling through the door, saying I was ruining everything, that I was overreacting. He tried to push his way in when I cracked open the door, so I shoved him back and slammed it. He kicked the door and left. My phone started blowing up. Texts from my mom, my dad, even some random cousin in another city. Lena was apparently calling everyone she could, saying I was kicking her out with nowhere to go. I just kept repeating, not my problem. I told my landlord to schedule a lock change for the next day. He said okay. Lena tried to sneak back in that night, but I was sitting on the couch waiting. She tried to guilt me, said she had nowhere else to go, that Gustavo promised her it would be fine. I told her to call him and figure it out. She left, slamming the door. The last straw was when I saw Gustavo waiting outside the building the next morning. He tried to follow me out, got in my face, shoved me. I shoved him back, told him to leave. He tried to say I was ruining the family, that I was acting crazy. I just laughed. I told him he was never getting a key again. He threatened to tell my parents everything. I said, go ahead. I already did. When Lena came for her stuff, she tried to take my speaker and my old PS4. I told her to put them back. She started yelling, so I just started recording on my phone. She backed down. She started crying again. Said she had nowhere to go, that Gustavo was supposed to take care of her. I said, that's his problem now. They both ended up in the hallway crying, calling my name, begging me to open the door. I just sat on the couch and turned up the TV. I heard Gustavo kick the wall. Lena was sobbing. I haven't said anything else since then. My phone's been blowing up. Random numbers, people from Lena's side, even old friends I barely talk to. I just keep blocking. I gave my parents a basic explanation. Gustavo and Lena tried to play me. They're out. End of story. My dad just said, all right, your house, your rules. My mom wants me to be the bigger person, but I'm done with that. So yeah, that's where it stands. I didn't just cut them off. I made sure they knew exactly what and exactly what it cost. I'm not sorry. If anything, I wish I'd done it sooner. Final update. So it's been a few days since everything blew up. And honestly, I feel weirdly numb. Not even in a deep way. Just like I keep waiting for the next thing. And all that comes is more noise. It's not dramatic. It's just annoying now. And yeah, I'm still mad. If you were rooting for a big family hug or some forgiveness thing, you really don't know how people work when it's real life, not some sitcom. First thing I noticed, my phone basically turned into a spam machine. I'd wake up to like 20 missed calls, half of them just random numbers from apps I didn't even recognize. One was a landline. Like, who even has a landline? I ignored all of it at first. Figured Lena and Gustavo would get bored, move on. But every hour it was something else. Texts, calls, voicemails, even emails. Lena left a handwritten note at my door, folded up and stuck under the mat. I tossed it in the trash without reading it. I'm not interested in her side. Even weirder, people I barely talked to started reaching out. Harlow texted me, said Lena messaged him at 2 a.m., begging him to tell me to unblock her. Some old friend from high school DM'd me on Insta. He said Gustavo asked if there was any way to get through to me. I haven't talked to this guy in years. I guess they're trying every angle, but I'm not biting. My parents got dragged into it too, which I kind of expected. My mom called, said Lena came by their place crying, wanted to explain. Dad asked if I really needed to be so cold. I told him I'm not doing anything, I'm just done. Mom tried to say maybe I was overreacting, but then she talked to my landlord, who she knows from way back, and found out what actually happened. Gustavo tried to get on the lease without telling me. Lena tried to move her stuff back in, after I'd boxed it. Landlord had to tell her to leave. After that, my parents mostly stopped taking sides. They're not thrilled, but they're not backing Lena or Gustavo either. Gustavo's been blowing up the group chat, ranting about how I ruined his life and how he's homeless now. He tried to guilt-trip my dad, but Dad just said, "You made your bed." Gustavo got mad and left the chat for a day, then came back with a string of voice messages. I didn't listen to them. I just deleted them. Lena's been quieter, but she sent a bunch of crying emojis, then called me from a new number. I blocked it. Lena tried to come back one more time, this time with her mom. I was in the kitchen and heard voices in the hallway, so I opened the door and said, "You're not coming in." Her mom tried to say Lena just needed a minute to get closure. I told her, "Not happening. You had weeks to get your stuff. It's gone now." Lena started yelling. I told her to stop. She tried to push past me. I blocked her with my arm. Her mom started crying too. I just shut the door. They stood out there for a while, then left. I heard from a neighbor later that night that Gustavo had been in the parking lot yelling on the phone, saying I'd destroyed his family. Not my problem. He could have just not been a snake, but I guess that's too hard for some people. I did get one call that kind of made me pause. My cousin called, said Gustavo was trying to crash at his place, but he said no. Apparently, Gustavo burned him on some money last year, so he's not interested in getting screwed again. Cousin asked if I was okay. I said, yeah, just tired. He said, good. Don't let them back in. Lena lost her job apparently because she put my address on all her paperwork, and now she can't prove where she lives. I didn't do anything to make that happen, but she tried to blame me. I just said maybe ask Gustavo for help. Gustavo, meanwhile, is couch surfing with some friend who's already sick of him. He texted me from a new number, said I was petty. That family should forgive. I blocked that one too. The best one was when one of Lena's old friends, who I literally met once at a party, called me and begged me to unblock her. She was crying, really dramatic, saying Lena was a mess and needed one last chance. I just said, this is not your problem, and hung up. Honestly, most people have started taking my side, or at least stopped bothering me about it. The group chat has been dead quiet since my mom told everyone to let Mark be. I told my landlord to send any future packages for Lena back to sender. I wiped all my accounts, changed every password, locked down everything. I even put a camera up in the hallway just in case someone tries to mess with my door. Some people keep saying I'm being harsh, but I don't owe them anything. I'm not going to play therapist or let them talk me into fixing what they broke. If they wanted a different outcome, they should have acted different. I'm not mad anymore. I'm just not interested. I'm not blocking people for drama. I'm blocking because I want peace. And if that means Gustavo and Lena have to actually face the consequences for good, so be it. I know this isn't perfect. I'm not magically healed. I'm not suddenly happier. I still feel weird when I see certain stuff in my apartment, but I'm not letting these people back in my life. Not ever. If anyone's reading this and thinking about giving people like that another chance, don't. You don't owe anyone your sanity or your space. Anyway, that's it. If anything else wild happens, I'll post. But I think I'm finally done. Appreciate the people who actually got it. And for everyone else saying I went too far, maybe try getting stabbed in the back before you judge.